Today I'm going to show you how you can create a high converting B2B SaaS homepage. Most B2B SaaS homepages I've seen are stuck at a sub 1% conversion rate, and even the decent ones do around 1.5%. But using this structure that I'm about to show you in this video, you can expect to reach 2.5% conversion rates, and in some cases, depending on your product, even 3% or 5% conversion rates. Now, why should you listen to me? I run one of the very few agencies that focuses only on B2B SaaS conversion rate optimization, and my recommendations are not based on best practices you can find online, but it's based on the A/B tests we run for our clients and are proven to win. So what are the three pillars on your B2B SaaS homepage that actually makes buyers convert? Well, first of all, it's your value proposition. Your buyer has to actually want your product in the first place. Then the second one is social proof. Can your buyers trust your product and your brand? And the third is objection handling. This is B2B, so even if you have an amazing value proposition and amazing social proof, people will still have questions and skepticisms, and you need to be able to proactively address those objections. So going a little bit more into the value proposition, when I say value proposition, I specifically mean communicating what kind of outcome your product can deliver for your buyers. And in order to define that, you need to ask yourself questions like, what problem does your product solve for your buyers? What business outcomes and KPIs do your buyers care about in their roles? And why should your buyers choose your product over competitors, which is communicating your differentiators? Now, some things that you should know is that even if you only have one product, that one product can have multiple value propositions. For example, if you're marketing an AI SDR tool that helps sales automate cold outreach, one of your value propositions might be that it helps your sales team save time. Another value proposition could be that it helps sales scale volume without hiring more people and increasing overhead. Another value proposition could be that because of a certain feature in your AI, the response rates on the campaigns will actually be higher. So there are many angles you can take, and it's very important to identify the one that resonates the most with your buyers and converts the most buyers. Now, even if you've decided on a value proposition, there are multiple ways to phrase that single value proposition, which is why you want to dial in your messaging. The next pillar is social proof. It's about building trust and credibility. And what you want to do here is that you want to strategically place social proof such as testimonials and case studies and other third-party ratings that align with your main value proposition. So if you're, again, using the AI SDR example, if your value proposition is how your tool can actually help sales teams improve response rates and grow their pipeline, then you want testimonials that actually back this up and say that their company were able to improve their response rates, rather than testimonials that talk about, the excellent support your company has or how they were able to save time using your product. And these other testimonials do all have a place in your website, but within your homepage, you want your social proof to align with your value proposition. And one thing that I cannot emphasize enough is that there can't be too much social proof. The more social proof you have, it's almost always better. Social proof is like the bread and butter of your homepage. So whenever your homepage makes a claim, whether it's in the hero section or whether it's in the feature sections, you want to immediately back it up with more social proof. Finally, the objection handling pillar is all about removing buyer friction and diffusing their skepticisms by proactively answering any questions that might be in their mind. And a great way to identify these questions is to talk to your sales team, go over sales calls, and ask them what is the most frequent objection that they get. Another great source is to talk with their customer support team and ask them what are the most frequent customer support tickets or questions that they receive from customers. You can put these in an FAQ, or if there is a certain objection that's very unique to your product and comes up very often, you could even create dedicated sections for these on your homepage. Another form of objection handling is to address buyer criteria. For example, if you sell to a specific niche or an industry and everyone in that industry uses a certain tool, let's just say QuickBooks for now, then you want to show that your tool integrates with QuickBooks because that's just a criteria for them. Even if they really resonate with your value proposition and want to sign up for your product, if your product doesn't integrate with the rest of their stack, they're not going to be able to. So we don't want to hide this information away in some obscure page on your website, but rather, if it's very important, we want to put it on your homepage. Now let's take a look at the specific homepage structure that uses these three pillars to hook your buyers, build trust, and convert them at a 2.5% plus conversion rate. It all starts at the hero section. The hero section is the most important real estate on your homepage. It's because it's where you'll get the most views. Any other web page than the homepage, the amount of visitors you get will drop below 40%. And even within the homepage, we've taken a look at heat maps, and more than 50% of visitors don't even scroll past the first two sections. So you really need to dial in your hero section. This is a hero section that has worked exceptionally well in our B2B SaaS A/B tests. First of all, you can see a headline that instantly communicates value proposition. And when we say value proposition, we're specifically talking about communicating the outcomes of using your product. Here, as you can see, it says grow your traffic by 114% in 4 months with the e-commerce SEO platform. We've used a quantifiable outcome here because quantifiable outcomes often perform even better in A/B tests, but I know that this is not applicable to all B2B SaaS products, but you should absolutely focus on communicating the business outcome that your product can deliver. Secondly, you want to make sure that social proof is immediately visible on the website's load. So we want to move the customer logo reel above the fold so that it's instantly visible. I've seen a lot of B2B SaaS website where they do have a customer logo reel, but it's just underneath the fold depending on the device. So you just want to make sure that it's visible above the fold on any device. The next thing is that for the hero image, I've seen a lot of B2B SaaS companies put, cool graphics, stock images of happy B2B people, and also sometimes they put illustrations or schematic diagrams here, but you definitely in our A/B test, the product interface just works the best in converting buyers. This is because your visitors are on your site to see the product, so you should, if possible, show them the product immediately to create that relevance and hook your visitors. And finally, in the eyebrow, you can use this as a supporting tool. So if you have a great G2 rating or a Capterra rating, you can put this in the eyebrow, or you can also put other elements such as an ICP callout. If your product sells to a specific market, it can be a really strong hook to call out your audience. For example, this tool sells specifically to restoration businesses, so we put that in the eyebrow there. Additional uses for the eyebrow is you can put a positioning statement there, but in our case, in this wireframes case, we are already communicating the positioning as an e-commerce SEO platform, so we used social proof in the eyebrow. Now, there are situations where your platform or product has a very broad outcome that's not specific because it solves many different types of products. ClickUp would be a good example. Its value proposition is just to boost productivity because it has many tools within its suite. For example, a Kanban board's outcome would be that projects are well managed. The chat feature within ClickUp's outcome would be that your team has better communication. So in this case, a hero section that has worked really well is a section with these type of hero tiles that show the various features within the platform. And why this works well is because it shows people in a glance within the hero section above the fold what the various capabilities your product has, and it also invites them to click on each checkbox to see the various features, and this creates a micro interaction, a micro commitment to make them more likely to go to your demo page and convert. An example of this page, this type of layout would be this page that we designed for Crayon. As you can see here, their tool is an end-to-end competitive enablement tool. What that means is that they gather intel all across the web and from various other sources. The AI analyzes the intel. You can chat with the AI and create assets for the sales team. So we've shown all these type of capabilities within the hero section, and this performed really well. Now, so what should you put after the hero section? Well, that depends if your product is a point solution or a system solution. A point solution solves a very specific problem, and a system solution solves a complex problem by solving many different small problems within a full workflow. So if your product is actually a system solution, that means your audience is often problem unaware, or they might be problem aware but not solution aware. So in this case, you want to put a pain point section where you communicate that you understand their complex pain points and their problem and show the difference that your product will make. Now, if your product is a point solution like an e-signature software or a video transcriber, then you don't really need to describe their problem because the problem is so obvious. Your audience in this case is often problem aware and also often solution aware. So in this case, you want to just show the quality of your product immediately. And a great way of doing this is an outcome section where you show the impact that your product has had for your users through specific metrics. For example, in this case, 114% average traffic growth for users after 4 months of use, or 10 hours saved every week creating SEO optimized e-commerce blog posts. Now, the next thing we want to have on the homepage is social proof. And we want to put social proof as high up as we can so that we get as many eyeballs on it. Social proof comes in many forms such as testimonials and case studies and third-party ratings. But a general rule of thumb is that you want to have the social proof align with your main value proposition that's shown in your headline. You want it to have an actual person's face. You want to have their name and their company logo to build credibility. I've seen a lot of B2B SaaS companies use testimonials that, just vaguely states sales manager from a manufacturing company or VP of marketing from a, MarTech tool company, but these won't convert as well as a clear social proof that has a person's face, their name, their job title, and a company logo. So a quick example of what that could look like is something like this. No need to overcomplicate it. And if your product was a system solution and you didn't get to show the outcomes in the first section, a really smart and great way to do this is to show case studies with testimonials and both the outcome. The next section is the body content, where you actually want to show more details about the product's features. And what you put in the body content of your homepage depends on whether your company sells a single product or whether you guys sell multiple products. If you sell a single product, then it's pretty straightforward. You want to show the top features of your product that your customers care the most about. The way you can select these features is, number one, talk to the sales team again and ask them what are the features that our customers care the most about. Another really useful tool is to look into your Google Analytics and use a path exploration report. A path exploration report will actually let you see up to 9 steps of the pages that your visitors visited before converting. So if you view all the conversion path of your conversions in the past 90 days, it'll give you a very good idea on what kind of feature pages, what kind of product pages your visitors went into, and you can prioritize the ones that came up the most. Now, in terms of how you want to actually structure the content in the feature sections, again, you want to show the product interface and the feature interfaces. Your buyers are visiting your website to see the product, so you should show them the product to create relevance. And as for the feature section headlines, I've seen a lot of B2B SaaS companies just put the feature name in each feature section, but a better way of doing this is to actually communicate both the benefit and the feature in the headline. For example, here, the feature is that the user will be able to get real-time insights from 500 plus sources, and the benefit of that is that it lets the team focus on strategy. Another example is in here, the benefit and the outcome of using the feature is to boost win rate against competitors, and the feature itself is battle cards that update real-time. Now, if your company has multiple products, the structure is actually not too different. But instead of having individual features for each section, you would have individual products. Now, the thing I want to mention is that this overall structure can be used for B2B SaaS landing pages as well. But in landing pages, you usually want to focus on just one product at a time and not show multiple products like this. Once we've communicated our features as well as our products in the body half of the content, we want to, again, back these claims up with more social proof. Testimonials, case studies, third-party ratings, G2 badges all work really well here. And then finally, we're at the lower half of the homepage, and the fact that your visitors have scrolled down all this way means they're higher intent and they're going to be starting to have specific questions about your product. And this is why we want to place objection handling elements here. Again, FAQs that contain your most frequent objections can be really strong. Also, if you are selling a point solution within a competitive industry, you might want to have a comparison chart on why your buyers should use your product over all the other products available. If your product serves the enterprise segment, you definitely want to show that your product is enterprise ready with all necessary security certificates such as SOC Type 2 and ISO. And finally, again, you want to address any buyer criteria that might exist in your unique market. For example, sharing the fact that your product integrates with all the standard softwares in that industry. Once you have handled objections, you want to place a final CTA to capture those high intent visitors who have scrolled down all the way. I've seen so many B2B SaaS homepages end their homepage with check out our latest blog post or recent news about the company, but we really just want to make it as easy as possible for interested buyers to sign up for your product or book a demo. So this is the overall structure of a high converting homepage. Before we wrap up, I want to really quickly show some real world examples that we've designed. This is a homepage we did for Salesbricks. As you can see, the product interface is immediately visible. We've got social proof above the fold in form of customer logos, as well as their amazing G2 ratings, and the headline communicates a quantifiable outcome. Now, Salesbricks is a system solution because it helps multiple problems within the B2B sales process. So in this case, we put a pain points section. And then throughout the page, we show more features, back it up with social proof, show features. We also introduce some objection handling elements showing that it integrates with most tools that B2B SaaS sales teams use. We also handle more objections by showing that since this is a fintech tool, it shows that this tool is very reliable with the SOC Type 2 certified badge, as well as 99.9999% uptime. And we finally show a little bit more social proof in the form of customer success stories, and we have a final CTA. Now, this is one we did for Floworks, a YC company. As you can see, again, a quantifiable outcome headline. We got social proof above the fold in the form of customer logos, and we have a product interface giving visitors immediate relevance. Now we have an outcome section here. Floworks isn't necessarily a point solution, but they just had amazing metrics and amazing outcomes for their customers. So that's why we front loaded this. We wanted as many people to see this as possible. Then we introduced their AI avatars, and the headline briefly touches upon the fact that these AI avatars will help replace all the grueling manual work that goes into sales outreach and let the team focus on just the closing. Then we layer in more social proof higher up on the page. For Flowworks' case, uniquely, we put objection handling elements high up the page because for a lot of AI sales outreach tool, there's a very big objection, which is that will this AI outreach ruin trust with our customers as well as burn our market? Will the AI outreach tool hallucinate and cause problems? So we wanted to actually handle that upfront in this case. That's why we showed their proprietary AI model that reduces hallucinations significantly compared to other models like ChatGPT or Claude. Then again, we introduce their various features. As you can see in the headline, we show both the feature and the benefit of using the feature. And as you can see here, reach more qualified leads is the benefit and AI-powered prospecting is the feature. And we basically use this structure to introduce their top features that their buyers care about. We have more social proof layered in, more social proof, as well as a objection handling element showing that enterprise companies can really trust Flowworks for their AI sales outreach. And then we have a final CTA to capture those high intent visitors. All right, I hope this was helpful. I hope you actually use this structure to design or redesign your homepage to convert more buyers. And if you'd like me to take a look at your website and see how you can improve your conversions by 20 to 30% within 90 days, you can hop on over to groksweb.com and book a strategy call there. I'll see you next time.